Welcome to Gonti Black Friday. As far as our opening hand goes, we've got Stronghold, Swamp, Power Stone, and yeah, we'll keep on this one. I like this. We've got a board wipe. We've got some spot removal. Go for the throat. Won't target Golos, but more than likely, depending on what our opponent's got going on, we'll at least find something nice for this go for the throat that we can use that on. And also, we're on the play, so we will definitely take that. Let's go and lead off with Swamp, and then anything else. No, we're going to go and pass the turn over our opponent. But yes, welcome to Gonti Black Friday. Hopefully, you have your thieving gloves on, and you have some sneakers for sneaking, because we're going to be trying to steal some stuff from Golos, which is not that hard, but Golos tends to travel the multiverse, so hopefully we can have some pretty good stuff from our opponent. Our opponent's going to go for Viscera Seer, so it looks like we might have an interesting build of Golos. Kind of see what's going to happen with that. Typically, you're not going to see a turn 1 Viscera Seer with Golos, so I'm kind of excited. Let's go, I guess at this either way, these lands are going to come into play tap, so we'll just go Phyrexian Tower. And we will be off of a black source if we wanted to go for something like Phyrexian Arena. But I still think that's going to be a pretty good option. So let's do this. Let's go and go Phyrexian. Let's go Demonic Tutor. Let's get this popped out. Yeah, I mean, we should hit a black source pretty soon. I just really like the thought of just drawing cards turn after turn. So we're going to grab Phyrexian Arena and then anything else past the turn over to our opponent. We're playing Gonti, Lord of Luxury, Death Touch. Whenever Gonti enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of target opponent's library. We get to exile one of those face down. We spend our manas or any color to cast that spell. Then we put the rest of those cards on the bottom of our opponent's library in a random order because we weren't raised in a barn. We're not going to just throw them at the deck. They're going to go on the bottom. Playing against Golos, Tireless Pilgrim. Whenever Golos enters the battlefield, you search your library for a land card, put that card on the battlefield, then battlefield tap, then shuffle your library. Then for a 2-mana Wooburg active, oh, the Magic Gods. They're looking down on us. Let's go. Thank you, Magic Gods. Let's go Phyrexian Arena. That's going to be 1-2. Oh, that's a good feeling. And then anything else past the turn over to our opponent. So yes, Golos is going to enter the battlefield, grab themselves, our opponent, a land, and then for a 2-mana Wooburg activation, exile the top 3 cards of their library. They may play them this turn without paying. Oh, and our opponent's like, oh, well, you got a Phyrexian Arena partner? We'll check mine out. Okay. Well, we got a bunch of card draw going, so this should be pretty fun. Let's see if Viscera Seer is going to go into the red zone or not. And then next, yeah, I mean, we've got Toxic Deluge, so if this is kind of like a little creature deck from our opponent, then we should be able to hopefully clean up pretty well on this one. So, all right, so Torment of Hellfire. And at this point, we could just straight up just go for Gonti. Let's make the land drop for sure. I think at this point, if we're going to advance our board state, I feel like ramping is going to be the better option for us, especially when you're playing against a Lands Matters commander like Golos. So let's go Arcane Signet. We're going to have Phyrexian, not Phyrexian, but Worn Power Stone into the battlefield tapped, and then anything else past the turn over to our opponent. So we did cover both commanders. Give a quick shout out to our sponsors, MTGOTraders. If you'd like to get your hands on some of the stuff that Gonti steals, hey, head over to MTGOTraders. We have a nice little resale shop set up over there. All proceeds go to Gonti's effort to steal more stuff. So you're supporting a local business with Gonti at MTGOTraders. Also, let's give a quick shout out to ingaming.com/Jolt. Head on over there if you want to treat yourself with a playmat. It'll also treat the channel at the same time, so it works out for both of us. And last but not least, I started a Patreon. So if you'd like to contribute to the Patreon, if you'd like to support cool content like this, if you'd like to get your name in the credits, if you'd like to maybe get your hands on some promotional tokens in a giveaway, or maybe just all of the above, hey, check out the link down in the description below. You can see my different Patreon tiers. And last but not least, I want to give a quick shout out to my local gaming store, Common Ground Games. So if you're in the market to grab some paper cards, click on the TCG link down on the bottom. I'm not making anything on this link other than just go. If you're going to buy cards online, buy from them. You know, if you do have your own local gaming store, totally fine, totally understandable. But if you don't have a local gaming store that you're dedicated to, be sure to check out Common Ground Games. They have a TCG Pro site set up. There's a link down in the description below. Once again, that is just, you know, got to support your local gaming store. So I want to get the word out there. So if you're one of those people that want to buy some cards, yeah, just check them out. So, and also, if you're keeping score at home, it is officially free time. So, all right, so we've got like 2 win conditions in our hand at this point right now. But I think it would be good to go ahead and go for Gonti. We're not really seeing a ton of action from our opponent, and I feel like that'll be a pretty good bet. So let's go Gonti. That's going to be 2 off of Worn Power Stone. and we're only breaking even on Stronghold at this point right now. So hopefully we can get a few more swamps on the battlefield, and that'll really kind of help us power out something like Torment of Hellfire, power out something like Exsanguinate. So, all right, let's get the Gonti 5-finger discount going. Let's punch Golos in the face. Oh. Is that a Consecrated Sphinx? I think that is. So that's an Arid Mesa. That's an Emergency Powers. That's a Mountain. That is a Consecrated Sphinx. Okay, we're going to take that one. And that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're only sitting at 4 mana. At this point right now, what we're going to do is we're going to hold on to this Consecrated Sphinx. And then we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. So now we do have Supernatural Stamina in our hand. So let's say that our opponent does have some sort of board wipe or some sort of spot removal. One of the cool things about Supernatural Stamina in Gonti is that you can send Gonti to the graveyard. Especially if you're playing on Magic Online, you need to click on Gonti, say, hey, go to the graveyard, not back to the command zone, but just for 1 black mana. It's just kind of like you're going to be able to cheat 6 mana out of commander attack. So it's a very nice feeling. I love running Supernatural Stamina. There's just going to be a lot of times where somebody is anticipating that a board wipe is going to really just kind of set them ahead as far as the entire game state or the board state. And so being able to hit the reset button with Supernatural Stamina and have Gonti enter the battlefield and steal some stuff along the way, it is a pretty nice feeling. So let's go and get this Golos pop down since our opponent's got a few more stuff on their side of the battlefield. And that's going to be Ghostly Prison. Okay, so the good thing about if we're playing against some sort of stacks deck or controlling deck, that's going to make it hard for us to... Do we want to go for the throat on this? I mean, no, I guess that's okay at this point. I mean... I think it's just more of a like, well, I've just got a little extra mana. We'll just go and put some boots on Viscera Seer. So, as Viscera Seer just scuttles across the battlefield, holding that human heart in their hand. So, all right. So we don't have, yeah, I think. Yeah, there's nothing we need to do at the end step, so we're just going to go and pass the turn. So let's see what we rip into off of Phyrexian Arena. Actually, wouldn't mind hitting a swamp or anything like that. Ooh, Omen of the Dead. Okay, that's actually going to be another way that we can reset on Gonti. Now, at this point, we do have Consecrated Sphinx. If we end up going Consecrated Sphinx, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That still keeps us open on going for something like, Phyrexian Tower. Yeah, I think I kind of like that. So let's go Consecrated Sphinx. Let's see if we can't get this this bad boy going. And it's going to be 1. Okay, so we're going to have Consecrated Sphinx enter the battlefield, and then anything else, I think we're just simply just going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. So we're in a pretty good spot. We've got, let's get our hand organized that way and kind of keep track of what's going on. And I guess, yeah, we'll go and swing in with Gonti, no, never mind. I can't tell you how many times our opponent gets down a Ghostly Prison and I forget about it, and I'm like, oh... It's kind of like when you're like walk into like a concert and they're like, are you supposed to be in the pit area? And I'm like, no. Yes, we are definitely going to use Consecrated Sphinx as a bit. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's some good. Yes, we will definitely use that ability. And that's going to be that's going to be 2 more cards. Okay. Now, even if our opponent does have some spot removal, 6 mana for 4 cards, we will definitely take that. Even if they do, now the only downside is if they do have a board wipe and we go Supernatural Stamina, it's going to come back on our opponent's side of the battle. Ooh, that's going to be a Sun Titan. Okay. They're going to go for Windswept. Yeah, that's fine. Windswept Teeth off of Sun Titan is perfectly fine. Now, one thing that I will mention is once we get an insane amount of card draw going with Gonti, and when you're giving commentary and you're recording a game live, it's very easy to forget about things in your hands. I'm going to try my best not to forget about some stuff. In fact, we're going to try to organize the hand along as, lands and utility stuff. So we've got some good utility stuff. We have Delicate Orrery. We have Omnixilis that definitely want to try to get down. We can go for that. That's going to be a -3 on Sun Titan. But I think at this point, we just want to force this go for the throat. Now, if they've got some sort of protection, they've got 1 white mana open, they might be able to protect it, but I feel pretty good about going for the throat on Sun Titan. That's going to get rid of that repeated ability. Even something like Sun Titan and just constantly bringing Windswept Heath out of the graveyard, that's something that we don't really want to... Oh, they got it. Good play by our opponent. All right, now we do have Toxic Deluge to hit the reset button, and we can set it up with a Supernatural Stamina. So we're in a pretty good spot. Now they will swing in with Sun Titan. That's going to be a 6/6 coming across. We'll probably still end up letting that go through, simply just to let them get in for 6, and then hopefully we'll be able to capitalize because they've only got 3 cards in the hand, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've got 10 cards. So between Phyrexian Arena and our card draw, and then Gonti coming back, we should be able to assemble something pretty nice on our side of the battlefield. So let's see if old Sun Titan's going to be swinging in. All right, so swinging in for 6, we're going to go ahead and take that. It's going to put us down to 18. And as the good thing about this is, as we keep drawing cards, as we keep getting our mana going, it's going to make cards like Torment of Hellfire and Exsanguinate just that much better. Because typically with those tap out spells, especially for mono black, you want to be able to close the game out when you go for it. But since we have 2 of them in the hand, we can just kind of go for a very simple one sometimes. So that's pretty. Ooh, and then we run into our own Titan. That's going to be Grave Titan, and then Force of Despair. So let's make the land drop for the turn. That's going to be Swamp. And then let's see. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we've got 9 total mana. We don't really want to discard down to hand size. I'm kind of tempted just to Toxic Deluge our way out of this one. I mean, because we've got more than enough to kind of rebound after that. So let's go ahead and go for that. Let's go and push in with Gonti and Consecrated Sphinx. If our opponent wants to block with Sun Titan, they certainly can. If not, we're going to be able to get in for 2 damage with Gonti, which will, kind of chip away at their life total. A swing of 6 definitely kind of helps make, maybe a back-to-back Exsanguinate or a Torment of Hellfire pretty good. Now, if we can sequence, where we have Videlican Orrery, and what we can do is we can try to just go for like an upkeep Torment of Hellfire or something like that. But and I would love to have Consecrate. Oh, do we want to pay 4 mana, especially if we're going to Toxic? That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we can still Toxic and Supernatural Stamina. Yeah, I think we're okay with that. It's going to be 1, 2. Yeah, that'll be good. And then we can also use Phyrexian Tower. There we go. Paying for 4. And what we can do is we can use Phyrexian Tower to sacrifice Consecrated Sphinx once we end up going for that Toxic Deluge. And that'll give us access just a little bit of extra mana, which will be pretty nice. All right, so we're going to see our opponent toss Viscera Seer in front of old Gonti over there. He's going to punch Viscera Seer in the face. Get out of here, partner. We'll probably see a sacrifice. There we go. The good thing about our opponent tossing Viscera Seer in front of Gonti is that once we do end up going for Toxic Deluge, it's going to cut off just an extra scry off Sun Titan, which is a nice feeling. So just kind of stopping just a little bit of extra value. So at this point, let's go ahead and go for Supernatural Stamina on Gonti, because if we Toxic Deluge, and let's make sure that Gonti goes to the graveyard, not the command zone. There we go. All right, so let's go and sacrifice Consecrated Sphinx. We're going to add 2 mana to our mana pool. Let's go for Toxic Deluge. And that's going to tap down for 1 more. And we're going to go ahead and pay 6 life because we want to get this this partner out of here. So, all right, so we're going to bring Gonti back onto the battlefield. Oh, look at that. And then Whip of Erebos, Mystical Tutor, and then Aetherflux Reservoir. Now, Whip of Erebos is nice, especially with something like Grave Titan. And if we want to play cautious, that would be good. But if we want to go for some fun, we've got a lot of stuff in the hand. Aetherflux Reservoir. Man, I don't know if we can set up an Aetherflux Reservoir. Mystical Tutor is nice too. Man, this is a very nice package. I guess, Whip of Erebos gives us some lifelink, but I just don't really think that. I guess if we just want to stay open, Mystical Tutor does help out. Yeah, let's do that, because Mystical Tutor is just a very nice thing that we can go for. Anything else, we'll pass the turn. Now, we do have to dump a few more things into the graveyard. In fact, if we wanted to, yeah, let's do this. So let's get rid of... We're going to get rid of Strionic Resonator, and we're going to get rid of Volrath Stronghold. Okay, there we go. All right, now the good thing about us having Force of Despair is, let's say that our opponent does get down some sort of creature, something like that, we can still kind of wipe the entire board state, and that still keeps us open on going for Omen of the Dead and bringing Gonti back to our hand, which can be a very nice line of play for us. Now, the only downside is we are down to 11, and so we might start to go for some of these Torments and these Exsanguinates, because we can really just chip away at our opponent's life total, which is going to be very nice for us. So, in fact, if they don't have a ton of action, we might end up going for that. And do they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? They've got just enough mana to go for a Golos activation. So what we're probably going to do is wait for them to crack Windswept Heath. And if we're worried about some sort of action from our opponent with Force of Despair, what we can do is in response to that Windswept Heath, keys, let me make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, they've got 7 mana open right now. And once they go to crack, well, actually, excuse me, no, they got that Urborg down. That's going to allow them to go for instant speed Golos activation. So let's see what they end up going for. Now, things do get nutty with the Golos activation. We still have Force of Despair to kind of clean it up a little bit, but I think we might end up having to go for Exsanguinate and Torment next turn. Just, okay, ooh, Symbol of the Legion. All right, I like that. Okay, this is going to be Symbol of the Legion, and that is one of my favorite cards in Magic. I love a Symbol of the Legion. It is insanely slow, but it's good. I love it because if it goes unchecked, especially against a mono black deck like this, we don't really have a ton of enchantment removal. Once you get down to Symbol of the Legion, there's just going to be some times to where you just can't stop that flow. So I think we're going to have to start just tapping out for some of these cards. So I mean, for Sanguinate and Torment of Hellfire, just to get around that Symbol of the Legion, because that's pretty much going to be a pretty good clock for us. Now we do have a Force of Despair to kind of stop a really big one, but I think we'll be in a Thrilling Encore and Undying Eve. Ooh, that is some good magic. So let's see. So we've still got Mystical Tutor. We could Mystical Tutor for a board wipe. We've got something like Gonti. What are we going to do on this one? We've got Death Touch. So, let's do this. So let's go and push in with Gonti because that's going to allow us to chip in for 2. And then if something crazy does happen, we still have Force of Despair. So yeah, I think I kind of like this. So let's go and swing it at our opponent. That's going to be 2 coming across. Do we want to pay 2 for that? Would we rather just have Exsanguinate mana? Yeah, I think we're okay with that. If you're keeping score at home, it's like the 3rd time I've done that. Yeah, I think with us having Force of Despair, I think we just end up going for a really nice Sanguinate. And that's really going to just kind of give us a nice, yeah, let's do this. I kind of like going for Exsanguinate. All right, so X is going to be 7. So they're going to lose 7 life. We're going to gain 7. We go to that. I guess they could discard some cards. If we wanted to, we could go for Torment of Hellfire. Torment of Hellfire might be the better option because they're probably not expecting both in our opening hand. So let's do this. So we're going to go Torment of Hellfire instead. That's just going to force either them getting rid of cards, and then kind of forces them to go into this kind of Golos activation next turn. And if things get nutty, we got Force of Despair. So, Arcane Denial. Okay. All right, so that still keeps us open on Exsanguinate, and then we're going to go and pass the turn. So we will have to discard down to hand size. I guess at this point, probably just get rid of Videlican Ori. I feel like Videlican Ori is a very nice early game if we're not worried about trying to sequence some stuff from our opponent. But at this point, I think it's okay to get rid of that one. So the good thing about Arcane Denial is we're going to be able to cash in 2 card draw, which is pretty nice. And then they've got the Phyrexian Arena trigger. They get a Symbol of the Legion trigger. And Symbol of the Legion gets going really quick. I mean, it's just, like I mentioned, it's one of those cards that it's very expensive. It's 5 total mana. You need about at least 3 or 4 more turns after that to get a Symbol of the Legion going. But man, talk about just a fun Magic card. I typically don't like Boros cards, but I love it. Some good Magic. All right, so we do have Vampiric Tutor. That will keep us open during our upkeep. So what we'll probably end up going for with Vampiric Tutor is grabbing Coffers, because with Coffers, that's going to allow us to at least go for an Exsanguinate. Now, we did see a couple different counter spells from our opponent. We saw Dispel, we saw Arcane Denial. I don't know how heavy of a control deck this is. Typically, if you're playing 5-color control, you don't have a ton of counter magic. I mean, at least that's how I build it, because there's just, you got to leave room for other stuff in there. But depending on how heavy of a counterspell deck our opponent built, we do have to worry about that. But at least we've got some pretty good options in our hand if they do end up going for something kind of nutty with Golos this turn. So now, one thing that we can go for with Mystical Tutor is we can grab Worse Fears, and if we end up grabbing Worse Fears, what that's going to do is that's going to allow us to just take control of our opponent's turn. Next, I don't know how good that's going to be. I mean, we could try to do as much stuff as possible, but that is an option that we can go for with Mystical Tutors. But we're going to at least kind of keep Mystical Tutor online right now to see exactly what we would end up going for. So, all right, there's going to be Videlican Orrery. Cast spells as though they had Flash, and I think that's going to keep them open on Golos. Oh, and look at that Skull Clamp. Oh. Okay, it's going to be a Skull Clamp. Do we want to let them Skull Clamp onto the Soldier token? We could Force of Despair to just kind of clean up that one Soldier token. I mean, in a game of card, yeah, I think that's okay. Yeah, let's go Force of Despair. We're gonna go Force of Despair. Let's go in Exile. I guess at this point, I think Omen of the Dead. We can get rid of that. So let's go Force of Despair. That's gonna get rid of that Soldier token and just really cut them off that 2 mana because we really want to stop them from getting any sort of card advantage at this point right now. So, all right, so we're gonna go Force of Despair. And the good thing about us going Force of Despair, you know, if our opponent's got counter magic, they might want to stop this because at this point in the game, 2 mana. Yep, there we go. All right, so they're going to go for counter spell. They're going to get that. And this is what makes Magic fun, or at least Commander fun, is, you know, we've got. We've got a Force of Despair on an Assemble Legion Soldier token, and then like, no, we need this to resolve. So, the good thing is that's going to cut them down on 1, 2, 3, 4. Cut them down to 4 mana. So if they have anything else that they need to do for the turn, they're going to have to get it done now. Now, we have seen a ton of counter magic, so we're pretty much just going to have to play the rest of the game like they've got a counter spell in their hand. So, they did make the lane drop for the turn with Savannah, so that will end up being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they've got access to 5 mana. If we want to try to sequence something, what we can try to do is maybe go for Grave Titan as a counter spell test, or even something like Mystical Tutor. But I feel like Vampiric Tutor on coffers just opens us up so much on mana. In fact, let's go and go for that now, because our opponent would definitely, if they've got counter magic, a Vampiric Tutor during our upkeep is something that they more than likely want to stop. So we're going to go Vampiric Tutor, and worst case scenario, if they do want to try to counter it, that does kind of keep us open on Mystical Tutor, maybe grabbing, I don't think we'll have enough mana to go for Worst Fears 2, but we'll see. All right, Mental Misstep. All right, so let's go Mystical Tutor just to put something on top. Look at that stack. I'm digging it. What we're going to do right now is just try to, you know, deny our opponent on resources. That's what, there we go. So we're going to get that to stick. What's going to work out with Mystical Tutor? Yeah, if we're gonna, well, you know, his worst fears is nice, but I just don't know how much what it does on this board state. We've got scheming symmetry, but I don't really like that against our opponent. We could just grab like some spot removal, some defile. Yeah, I think defile would actually be pretty good. Because Army of the Damned is nice, but we can get that going on our side of the battlefield. And just having some instant speed spot removal, I think that's going to be a pretty good option. So let's grab defile. That's going to go on top of our library. They're going to mental misstep on Vampiric Tutor. And I guess technically, I mean, if we wanted to get, you know, you're not really going to play around mental misstep in Commander. I mean, depending on what sort of pod you're playing in, but maybe we could have set it up differently. But either way, that happens. So, all right, so we run into a swamp. Let's have swamp enter the battlefield, because that's going to kind of get us ahead finally on Stronghold. And I guess at this point, we definitely want to cut our opponent off of Golos activation. So let's go swamp. We're going to go to File on Golos. I'm just going to get -1/-1 for each swamp that we control. Thankfully, to our opponent's Herbalwork out there, that's pretty much going to clean it up. And they don't have enough mana to go for an activation, which should be good. Now, if they've got another counter spell, my goodness, they've got it. It looks like they don't. We're very happy about that. Let's go and push in for 2 with Gonti. Now we've got a symbol of the Legion breathing down our neck. So we're going to try to set up an Exsanguinate for next turn. In fact, we're just going to go and hold back Gonti. It would be nice to swing in, but I think at this point we just need to get the board full of creatures, and so let's do it like this. So let's go Stronghold for each swamp. That's going to be 5. Tap down 1 more. That's going to be Grave Titan. Now, if something does end up happening, we've got a pretty cool, well, actually we do. We got a pretty cool line of play. So what we can do is we can actually go for Undying Evil on Grave Titan with Phyrexian Tower. So we can add a little bit extra mana to our mana pool. So, all right, so our opponent's going to have a Symbol of the Legion coming down. It's going to be 2 soldier tokens on the battlefield. The good thing is that we've got Grave Titan, and we're probably going to end up going for an Undying Evil on Grave Titan, because in fact, while they don't have any cards, let's go and force the issue on this one. Let's go Undying Evil on Grave Titan. Well, they could have a board wipe. No, we'll do it at their end step. I think that's going to be better. Because if we wanted to, we could force Undying Evil during their upkeep and try to bring Grave Titan back. But I think at this point, even if they assemble some sort of resources, just the fact that we can try to threaten an Undying Evil with Phyrexian Tower on Grave Titan, I feel like that's going to be a pretty good thing. And especially now that our coffers is getting a little bit more mana, kind of makes this Exsanguinate just a little bit better. But this is one of those games of Magic to where it's kind of like, hey, we've gotten to the point now to where win or lose, we've had some really good fun. And so this is what makes Gonti so much fun. If you've never played Gonti, you've never think about building Gonti, I highly suggest it. Pretty much all you need is like coffers, and I mean you could just run 99 swamps and coffers, and so it's pretty good. I mean it's just your deck becomes an extension of your opponent's deck, which is it's just a nice feeling sometimes, especially in a multiplayer pod when you have like a bigger buffet of cards to choose from or decks to choose from, and that's what makes Gonti so much fun. So, and also, we're going to transition over to some Animal Crossing talk. Hope you're excited about Animal Crossing. It's releasing today, and I will be definitely doing some Animal Crossing content on the channel because I love Animal Crossing. So, I'm going to figure out a release schedule for Animal Crossing. I don't know exactly how it's going to go, but Animal Crossing is something I definitely want to incorporate into our channel, and especially times during these, if there's more people at home and we can kind of go for something that's a little bit more fun or kind of relax, I definitely want to do that because that is definitely what Animal Crossing is about. It's relaxing and having some fun. So let's see if our opponents are. They're just going to straight up just go Golos. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they do have access to at least a Golos activation, and so that might end up working. Now, one line of play that we do have is we have Obnixilis and Thrilling Encore. If we can somehow find ourselves into a board wipe, and if they get a lot of creatures down, then we might be able to set up a nice Thrilling Encore. But at least we've got some good zombies swinging in next turn, because if we can get a good alpha swing in with some of these zombies, we might be able to close it out with an Exsanguinate. So we'll see what else our opponent has in store for us. And then the other thing is our opponent does have Scroll Rack on the battlefield. So with Scroll Rack, if we end up going for a Gonti trigger, they might be able to just kind of exile some stuff that they don't want, or at least want us to have, and kind of use it as a protective thing or whatever. Okay, so it's going to be Swiftfoot Boots on Golos. Yeah, we're fine. We don't really have any instant speed interaction. And so, and let's do this. So let's go at our end step. Let's go Undying Evil on Grave Titan. And let's see if this is good. There we go. Let's go and sacrifice Grave Titan. It's going to have Undying. It's going to come back. That's going to give us, oh, look at that. Make it a 7/7 and get some extra zombies. Oh, yeah. That's very nice. All right, so it's going to be an extra Phyrexian Arena trigger, Scheming Symmetry, and then Command Beacon. So I think what we're going to do on this one is just go ahead and just swing in on this one. I guess at this point, we'll just go ahead and grab Command Beacon because that allows us to go for a cheap Gonti if we need to. Let's go ahead and push in. Oh, but they've got Ghostly Prison. Oh, bummer. Okay. I guess, yeah, we probably need to get a Grave Titan swinging in because it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's going to be 10 total mana. 11, 12. I think we've got the mana. Yeah, we need to do this. If we got to pay 12 mana to get this going, we're going to do that. Okay, so we're going to get the entire crew swinging in. The main reason we're doing this and completely tapping out is because if we completely tap out for an Exsanguinate, our opponent's going to have some sort of... Okay, Stifle on Grave Titan. We will take that. That's not the end of the world, but at least we've got a good swing in. But yeah, if we completely tap out for Exsanguinate, which is pretty much what we want to do, by us just simply just paying a lot for Ghostly Prison, it allows us to try to go in for a nice little alpha swing that's going to be... Oh, do they have Aether Rise? Let's see, or Aether Spouts. Let's see, Dictative Erebos. Okay, we can survive a Dictative Erebos. I mean, that's going to be Golos, and we'll just sacrifice the zombies on this one, so that's definitely not the end of the world for us. And they've only got 3 cards in their hand. So it's going to be Golos on Grave Titan, Haste, Hexproof, and then 1 blocker on the Soldier token. So, and there will be 2 creatures we have to sacrifice, but like I mentioned, we're going to be in a pretty decent spot. We are looking at 3 Assemble the Legion tokens swinging in, which might be a little iffy. Let's go ahead and sacrifice. At this point, we're going to go ahead and sacrifice 2 zombies. Yeah, that's going to be fine. Or, excuse me, just 1. And then anything else... Yeah, because Golos went back to the command zone, so that's not a death trigger. And then anything else, we're going to go pass the turn over our opponent. So we're completely tapped out. We're at 8 mana. We've got 3 hasty soldier tokens swinging in on us. But at this point, our opponent might rather just cash in some card draw. We might be able to win with something like if the Phyrexian Arena gets them down a little low or something like that. We're going to try our best, but we'll see. And so they've got oh no, did they have their own Exsanguinate? If they do, oh no. Yeah, that's going to be 11 total mana they're tapping out for. Yeah, and this is one of those games that if they do have Exsanguinate, they have earned it because this has just been a slugfest back and forth. Yeah, we'll see. Let's see what this ends up being. That's going to be Skull Clamp on Soldier Token, okay. And then, oh yeah, with the Dictate of Erebos out there, that's really going to cut us down. So the only downside is, yeah, we'll sacrifice a zombie. And then that's going to be 3 more creatures. Yeah, so that'll end up being us probably sacrificing Gonti because with Grave Titan, that does allow us to at least kind of keep some more bodies on the battlefield, which is very important for us. Okay, so our opponent has 11 cards in hand, so this is... it's making this Exsanguinate a little hard, so we'll see what's going to happen, especially them going for a Grim Tutor. That's going to put them all the way down to 5, so let's see what's in store for us. Ooh, and they're actually going to end up going Aetherflux Reservoir. They might have enough to get out from this one with the Aetherflux. They are looking at Storm Count 2. It's going to be Enlightened Tutor. Yeah, what we're going to do on this, I'm going to let our opponent just kind of go through their turn. If something kind of nutty happens or they're getting close to Aetherflux, I'm going to jump back into commentary. Ooh, that's going to be Bolas's Citadel, and our opponent did search up Whip of Erebos with that Enlightened Tutor. And that's going to be a Whip of Erebos activation on Sun Titan. Ooh, this is going to be a rough one. So we've got Sun Titan swinging in for 6. I don't think our opponent's going to be able to close it out with the Aetherflux. They might with Bolas's Citadel. We'll see. But that's going to be, once they end up putting, where are they? Swiftfoot Boots on the Viscera Seer. That's going to be them swinging in for 7. And then that's going to be 1 death trigger from Phyrexian Arena. So, I mean... that's going to be the game right there. We'll see what else they have for the turn. They're pretty much just tapped out on mana right at this point right now. And so we'll see. But yeah, with that that Whip of Erebos on Sun Titan, that was a... ooh, and they go to combat. Okay, so that's going to be 6. So at least gives us an opportunity to survive for a little bit. That's going to be 6 coming across, puts us down to 2. And then we'll see what we can assemble for next turn. That's going to be 25. Yeah, so they have definitely got themselves out of Exsanguinate range, which is, if you're keeping score at home, that's bad news bears for us. But they're probably going to, well, yeah, they might end up going for Bolas's Citadel just to get some lifelink. That's probably the safer bet that they're going to end up going for. So let's see what they're going to do. Oh, excuse me, each opponent loses 10 life. That... we got the flavor win from our opponent. Yeah, always forget about that. With Bolas's Citadel, sacrifice 10 non-land permanents, each opponent loses 10 life. I mean, I always think about Bolas's Citadel as just ripping through the... yeah, our opponent just goes, forgot about Bolas. Good game. That's a good game of Magic right there. A good game to our opponent. That was well played. We had a lot of good back and forth. Our opponent had a symbol the Legion down with Skull Clamp, which is basically like hitting the All-Star star in Mario Kart, and we got some good stuff going. We got Grave Titan with Phyrexian Tower on Undying Evil. Either way, we had some fun, some good back and forth. That's everything that you want in a Commander game. Good game to our opponent. That was very well played by them. That mental misstep was, oh, that was rough. That hurt. That stung the nostrils, but hey, that's how Magic goes. Anyway, be safe out there. Make sure you're washing your hands, and hopefully you have a good weekend. In fact, if you enjoyed the video, hey, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.